All right, welcome back. This is our third explainer on Daniel Kahneman's incredible book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Today, we are diving deep into a mental trap that gets literally all of us, overconfidence.
So let me just ask you this. Have you ever been totally 100% positive you were right about something, only to find out, maybe embarrassingly, that you were completely wrong? Yeah, we've all been there.
And here's the thing. According to Kahneman, the problem is baked right into our brains. We are hardwired to treat the feeling of confidence as a reliable signal that we are correct. It just feels so true, so we assume it is true. But as we're about to see, that's a really dangerous mistake to make.
So where does this incredibly powerful but often totally misleading feeling of certainty even come from? Well, it all starts with the foundational idea that Kahneman calls what you see is all there is. He even has this brilliant acronym for it, WYSIAT. What you see is all there is. It's how our fast, intuitive System 1 thinking works. Our brain takes whatever information is right in front of it and instantly builds the best, most coherent story it can, without ever stopping to ask, hey, wait a minute, what important information am I missing?
Think of it like you're doing a jigsaw puzzle. Your brain sees, let's say, 3 or 4 pieces that seem to snap together perfectly.
And then, without missing a beat, it declares, aha, I know exactly what this picture is. It doesn't care that there are still 500 pieces in the box. As long as the story it can see makes sense, that's good enough. And that feeling of confidence, that's just a reward for how good and tidy that little story is.
Kahneman just puts it perfectly here. Confidence is a measure of the coherence of a story, not the completeness or quality of the evidence. So what does that really mean? It means a simple story built on 2 facts can feel more true than a complex, messy reality built on 20 facts.
Okay, so this isn't just some abstract psych concept, right? This YCIT thing actively shapes how we see our own lives. It fundamentally distorts how we think about our past and how we predict our future.
And it creates 2 huge biases. When we look backwards, we fall for something called the narrative fallacy, which makes everything that happened seem obvious and predictable. And when we look forwards, we fall for the planning fallacy, which makes the future seem way more controllable than it actually is.
Let's tackle that first one, the narrative fallacy. This is our brain's deep need to create simple, clean cause and effect stories for things that have already happened. We look back at a stock market crash or a company's success and we tell ourselves a little story that makes it all seem like it was totally inevitable. It's a comforting illusion that makes us feel like we understand how the world works.
Kahneman actually had this incredible personal wake-up call with this. When he was a young psychologist in the Israeli army, his job was to predict which recruits would become good officers. He'd observe them, form his judgments, and feel completely certain about his picks. And then, years later, he got to see the actual data on their performance. And he discovered his predictions were, in his own words, essentially worthless. He was no better than random chance. But he remembered that feeling of total certainty when he made the calls. He gave this phenomenon a name, the illusion of validity. It's that powerful gut feeling that you're right, even when the cold, hard facts say you're wrong.
Okay, now let's flip the coin and look forward. This brings us to the planning fallacy. And this is our almost comical, universal habit of underestimating how long something will take, how much it will cost, and all the things that could go wrong, while at the same time we overestimate how great the benefits will be. We do this because we're focused on our own simple best-case scenario plan, and we ignore the messy, complicated history of all the similar projects that came before.
I mean, a classic, almost unbelievable example is the Sydney Opera House. The original plan? To be finished by 1963 for a cool $7 million. The reality? It finally opened a decade late, in 1973, for $102 million. That's over 14 times the original budget. That is the planning fallacy on a world stage.
So you might be thinking, okay, these are interesting mental quirks, but why does this really matter? Well, the truth is, overconfidence has massive, real-world consequences.
In fact, Kahneman himself doesn't mince words. He calls overconfidence the most significant of the cognitive biases. He argues it's the one that does the most damage in the world, from our personal finances all the way up to global politics.
You see it everywhere. It's what leads investors to make disastrous bets thinking they can outsmart the market. It fuels those giant corporate projects that are doomed from the start. It causes leaders to launch ventures or even wars based on wildly optimistic forecasts. And it's why so many expert predictions turn out to be no better than a coin toss.
Okay, this all sounds a little grim, doesn't it? If we're all wired this way, what on earth are we supposed to do about it? Well, let's talk about the path forward.
So,
Can you just decide to not be overconfident? Can you, through sheer willpower, just turn this bias off and become a perfectly rational person?
Well, Kahneman's answer is pretty clear. No, not really. And this is maybe the most important takeaway of all. Just knowing about a bias does not make you immune to it. Your fast-thinking System 1 is still going to churn out that powerful feeling of confidence no matter how much you know.
So the goal isn't to destroy your confidence. We need confidence to get anything done in life. The real goal, the practical step, is to learn when to distrust it. It's about building a new habit of intellectual humility, a habit of pausing and asking, okay, what might I be missing here? So I want to leave you with this one thought. The next time you feel that incredible rush of being 100% certain about something, just for a second, hit the pause button and ask yourself one simple question. What are the puzzle pieces my brain might be conveniently ignoring to make this story feel so